Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fearlessly Authentic. I am your host, Jody Harrison Bauer, and I'm so grateful to have you joining me once again. I appreciate you listening and subscribing and reviewing and leaving me messages. I love, love, love to hear from you. And as you know, every week, myself and my guest, we come on this show to educate, empower, entertain, and inspire you so you can live a fearlessly authentic life. Because if you're not living fearlessly authentic, what is life all about, right? So I cannot wait to just get right into the show today with my amazing guest from the Real Housewives of Miami, Alexia Echevarria. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Jody.
Yeah. So congratulations on your recent nuptials, right? Nuptials, is that the right word?
Yes.
Your recent marriage
Yes.
to Todd.
That is right. We got married
Yes.
December 16th. So yeah, we're newlyweds.
You are. That's so exciting. What does it feel like to be a newlywed? I know you're not in your 20s anymore, so I'm 61, so I'm just going to throw it out there right now.
You look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Thank you. Well, you look, gorgeous as always. But we're not spring chickens, right? But it's as we age, the things that we think about, we're young at heart. Clearly, you're like drop dead gorgeous, but to be married again now, older, does it feel different?
It's not that it feels different, but it's what you're saying. We're at a different stage in our life. So obviously when I got married in my 20s, the first time was different than when I got married in my late 30s, to Herman versus now in my 50s. So, it's a different feeling, but it's a great feeling. Love is love at any age. So, I'm still young at heart. I love the idea of being married. I love the idea of being in a relationship. And, I see love in life a lot different than what I did when I was in my 20s, and what I would look for in my 20s, I don't look for in my 50s. So it's like, it's all good. I feel like Todd and I I met my match with him and he met his match with me, and we're like really great together. And I feel like we're both in the same stage in our life that we want the same needs, the same wants, we're very compatible. So I'm hoping that it's going to be forever. And I really believe in my heart that it will be. I feel like I met the right guy at the right time.
It's so important. Exactly what you're saying is that we do have different attitudes as we age. And that's the beauty of aging, is that we've have so many life experiences. Hopefully we know ourselves better, and we're picking, when I say better, because I have a feeling that you would agree that you don't really have any regrets in life. You have these two beautiful children that are grown adults now, but the past can't be changed, because that's why you're you now. That's why you have this attitude towards love and marriage, because of the experiences. And I think that, people who get married, I got married first 25 and then got divorced 17 years later, and with each life experience, you grow. And I feel like that's where you are right now. And that's why you feel like so good where you are.
Right. No, I agree. You can have said it more beautiful than me. It's just exactly what you said. This is like exactly what I'm feeling. And yes, I have two beautiful children from my first marriage. And then my second marriage was exactly what I needed at that time too, and he was a great stepfather to my kids, and it was a different time in my life. But now in my 50s, I feel like it's more, and this time around, it's more about me. It's more like about Alexia.
Right.
And I feel that that's why it's going to be a lot easier, because we don't have like all these outside factors that will, really determine, whether the marriage can be successful or not. I think we're both at a great, stage in our lives where we're very happy with ourselves, with our profession, like with what we do in life, with our family, just like with everything. So it's more like about him and I now, and I love it.
It's kind of a really beautiful thing, because when your children are younger, and you are a wonderful, wonderful mom. And I just want to ask you how Frankie is. He seems to be doing amazing.
Yes.
And you just like you handled that so beautifully, like, like a loving mother.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always said that, maybe I've been more of a mother than a wife. And it's just because, that's the way that I am. And I feel that, if I brought my children into this world, it's like, it's my job, it's my duty. And that's the only way I know how to do it, and it doesn't matter how old they are, they're always going to be, my children. And I'm so happy that I have the kind of relationship that I do with both of them, because I love it. Like, my children love being with me. They love hanging out with me. They like going out with me. It's like, I think that's something really special, that I feel like all the moms, would want, at the end of the day, because, sometimes when the kids are small, okay, what's your mom? So you got to respect that. And it's your mom. But, the real lesson, or the real like value of it, is as they grow older, if they really want to still stick around and they want to be around you because they actually like you. And I'm very fortunate that I do have that relationship with both of them.
You really do. It was very touching. It's very, very touching to watch. I have two daughters that are 20, almost 29 and almost 33. And I just love them as adults. I love them from the time I gave birth to them, but as they become adults, and like you just said, enjoying your children, like that's a gift, for them to enjoy you and be like, I want to hang out with my mom. Like I think that's like our biggest gift as moms, is we want to have that relationship with them as they grow older, not just like raise them and go, okay, bye.
Of course, yes. And I feel like it's important, like, for them to know that too. Because if they don't have like their mom, and hopefully their dad too, is like, who do you have? Like, for me, everything was, like my mom and my dad. So I'm happy that all these years later, I still have that relationship. I mean, there might be things that they do that you don't agree with or that you don't like. But, at the end of the day, they're still your kids, and you're still going to be there for them, as a friend, also as a parent. But I think more as they get older, it's more like as a friend, and the fact that they rely on us and they ask us for advice and they listen and all that, that's very special that we get to have that.
Completely agree. So I want to start from when you were growing up. What did you aspire to be? And how did becoming a real housewife come into your life?
Right. Well, as I was growing up, I went through different stages and I aspired to be many things, right? And that's normal, I guess. So when I was growing up, I always, believe it or not, I wanted to be a real housewife, but not on the show, because that didn't exist back then.
Right.
I actually wanted to be married, to a nice man, have a beautiful family, be a mom to my kids, stay at home, not work. I grew up with a mother that was absent because she was a doctor, not because she didn't want to be, but because her profession was very important to her. And she was also like the provider of the family. So she had to go to work every day. She worked long hours. We were fortunate enough to have my grandmother that was very nurturing, very caring, and pretty much gave up all her life to raise my sister and I and my brother. So I always wanted to stay home and, and be that mom that my mom was never able to be in that aspect. So then I went from there. And as I started getting older, I said I wanted to be an attorney. So, and my dad would always say like how I had like the temperament and the character. And, I was so argumentative and I always had an answer for everything. And I kind of liked it and I owned it. And I had gone accepted into law school and everything when I met the father and I got involved with him. And my priorities changed right there, So when I got pregnant with Peter, I was like, you know what? If I choose to go to law school and become an attorney, I know I'm going to fall into the same path as my mom, where I'm not going to be able to, be at home with my kids and, and give them the time and attention. And I kind of didn't want to be my mom in that sense. You know what I mean? And I said, so I'm going to sacrifice and, give up, really being an attorney. My father had also passed away, because I feel like if my dad would have been alive, my life would have been a little different, because, back then we actually did things for our parents.
Yes.
Like go to law school, like marry certain guys, they wanted us to marry.
Yep.
So I always think that like how my life would have been so much different if my father would have still been around. But because he wasn't, I made some other decisions. And when I did make the decision, to have a family and to be married to my children's father, I said, you know what, I need to pick another career where I can be at home with my kids. So I got my master's in special ed. I became a special ed teacher. I started volunteering actually, and I really enjoyed it. I really loved it, like on my time off and as I was doing my master's. And I really loved it. So I graduated with my master's and I went into teaching. So that was a career that I can, take my kids at the same time in the morning, come home, pick them up after school, do all the stuff that my mom didn't get to do with me, take them to after school sports and do all that kind of stuff. So I taught for a special ed for Miami-Dade County Public Schools for like 11 or 12 years. And, but that's not so hot and sexy. So nobody really wants to know about that.
No, it's not. It's not hot and sexy, but it's necessary. You know what I mean? And you know what? That doesn't surprise me that you did that, because I see your personality coming through. You're very nurturing. You're very strong, but you're also very, very nurturing.
Yes. Yeah. I have that combination, which I see like as a gift and something like really amazing, because, I am very strong, but I'm also very nurturing. You're really great, by the way, too, Jody.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So because I am that person. So I loved, what I did for many years. I was getting into administration because, I felt like I could do so much more outside of the classroom, where I could be like a leader and a director and, actually bring in and implement all these programs into the public school system. I taught inclusion, where I taught children that had learning disabilities and different exceptionalities, and we would have them in a regular classroom setting, all day long with regular peers. And the children really excelled and they did like amazing just by being with regular kids. So I was including them instead of excluding them, and isolating them. So yeah, that was beautiful. And I did that for many years. And then I met Herman. I got married to Herman. And a few years later, I asked for leave because, we had, such an active social life. And we started the magazine. We had other businesses, but we had the opportunity to start the magazine. And I love that too, because, I love to read, I love to write.
Yeah, you seem to really thrive in that position.
Yeah, fashion, beauty, I loved all that, but I had to earn it. Even though he was my husband, it was like, okay, like, what do you know about publishing? And what do you know about any of this? I said, don't worry, just give me some time. I'll do my homework, I'll put in the time. And you know what? And I will earn my title. And that's what I did. So I started doing, just like on my own, I would start doing like heading the fashion editorials and the beauty and different, sections of the magazine until I earned my, publisher position and title. And we did that for 10 years. And then after that, he passed away. We went through, his children decided to close the magazine. And I had the opportunity to buy this business, which I have now, which is a beauty bar. It was actually just it was only a nail salon. And I bought it like that with the name that it had and everything. But I was like, you know what? I want this to feel more like about me and Frankie. And Frankie was there with me all the time. I had to work so many hours, and my customers would tell you, like, the first 6 months, it was like 10-hour days that we were putting in there. And I said, you know what, let's make it about you and me. So we named it Alexia and Frankie's Beauty Bar. And then I started adding services because it was only nails. So I said, you know what, I want a place where women can also get like a quick blowout if they're doing their nails, or if they need some lashes or a spray tan or a massage or a facial. So, pretty soon I added all these services to the beauty bar, and I've been there for 5 years. And I love it.
Wow. My daughter lives in Miami. I have to go. When I go visit her, I have to come there.
Also.
Yes. So this seems like just a natural progression of where you are in your life, like where you wanted to work really, really hard with the magazine. Then that kind of faded away, but you learned so much in that time, right? So how did Real Housewives come into your life during?
I forgot about the show.
That's okay. That's like okay. You're very busy. You're very busy doing a lot of things.
Right. That is true. So yeah, but I always say like the show revolves around my life. So for me, it's been very easy to kind of like just implement the show into my life, because when they're here and whenever we're filming, the show really just, kind of like documents what I'm doing on a day-to-day thing, which is a lot because I do a lot.
Right.
But I feel that's part of like my sanity and my therapy. Like I like to be busy. I need to keep my mind busy. I need to keep my body busy. I work out. I'm like a super active person. I'm very hands-on. So, all that kind of like works, the whole thing is like, that's just like how it works out, that I just can do a lot. And I have the personality that I need to feel like I'm doing a lot. I have to have a lot going on. Like when I don't, I'm like, hey, this is not normal.
You're not
So
that woman sitting in front of the TV eating bonbons. I always wanted to know
right.
who those women were. Like when I was raising my daughters, I was a stay-at-home mom also, but I
Mhm.
couldn't understand the women who did nothing.
Me
Like
neither. Yeah,
I
yeah.
just don't
It's
understand it, and you sound exactly that way.
Yeah, and I tried doing that also, but it's just not my
Me
personality.
too.
So I was a stay-at-home mom, but I did so much.
Right.
And and it's really unfortunate that they don't get, and that we didn't get because you did it as well, the importance that stay-at-home moms have.
I
I really
agree.
have a problem with that. Nobody really, even like my kids, I remember when I went back to work, that I told them like whatever it is I was working on. And they were like, they would appreciate me more when they would see me getting dressed and going to work. And I was like, well, what about all these years that I've been here doing this for you? They're like, oh, well, that doesn't really count. Like you have to do that anyways. And you know what? They did have a point because I
Yeah.
was able to work and also take care of them and do, other things for them.
But there's that balance you're talking about. And I wanted to talk to you about that because when we are a certain age, we can look back and realize like what you're doing right now, reflecting on, wow, like I was always really busy. Yeah, I worked, I ran a magazine, I did all this, but I was still present for my children all the time. And you also mentioned that you work out, you stay busy. So as a woman who's in her 50s,
Mhm.
who looks incredibly fabulous, but we still have to take, people just think, they see the outside and see that's all there is to us. But it's really when you're talking about working out, you're taking care of your inside first. You eat well, you stay busy, you stay active. How important is that to you? And how important do you think it should be for other women to start moving, exercising, meditating, whatever it is, eating healthy at a certain age?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a young age you should already start that.
Agree.
I came from, we're little, since we're kind of like in the same age group. When we were growing up, it wasn't that important. There was not so much awareness,
No,
physical or health, or not even mental, no kind of health, honestly.
forget
Like
that. Right.
I grew up like in a traditional Cuban family where we eat white rice, black beans, fried plantains, meat,
Right.
and we couldn't get up from the table until we're finished eating. So it was like the whole plate, we had to eat everything. So obviously everything's changed so much.
Yes.
But to me today, and I love that I have two stepdaughters, and they're already at a young, they're young, and they're already like they eat very healthy and they exercise. My kids always did sports, and the boys I think have it a little easier as far as like the weight and nutrition and all that goes. But
It's
they
called
grew up
testosterone.
right, yeah. They grew up very healthy, so they're lucky that way. But I feel that, as you get older, we and the times that we're living, that we're a lot more self-aware about being healthy mentally, physically, and not only to look good. I mean, it's hard also, like, we have that pressure as a woman
Right.
that we want to look good, for ourselves and then maybe for our spouses and just like in general. So it's tough. I mean, it's tough being a woman, but I feel that in order for everything else to play out well in life, you have to take care of yourself. And some people don't like to work out, and I respect that. But for me, it's something that's always been, I did sports when I was in growing up and in
Right.
high school and all that. And then I continued. The only time in my life that I haven't worked out has been when Frankie had the accident,
Mhm.
because my mind, and I think the mind is so important. I just could not. And even in the rehabilitation center, there was a workout gym there, like for the parents, so they can just connect and go. And I just couldn't get on that treadmill, just thinking, Frankie's on a bed, like he can't get up, like I don't think he's ever going to be able to walk again. So it was like my mind, is so connected to my physical. So when I'm in a bad mental state, I can't. It affects everything else in my life.
I
So
I
yeah.
completely understand. I mean, I own a fitness studio and I've been working out for 40 years. And so I talk to young people all the time about starting to work out at a young age because as you said, it's so important that it becomes a lifestyle for them. And your skin is absolutely beautiful. What do you do to take care of your skin?
Thank you. Well, I feel like genes play a really important role in like the way that we look and just like in everything. So I have good genes, that's to start with. And I really don't do anything special. I hydrate my skin a lot.
Mhm.
So I like to try different creams. And as I was one of the beauty editors for Venue at one time, I got all this products from all different brands. So I would try everything. I don't stay like with one cream like all the time.
Right.
And I take off my makeup unless I'm really drunk. And then, I got really tipsy that night when the
Too
wake up
much
the next morning,
tequila, you
and
keep your makeup on, right?
exactly. But if not, just like I don't do anything special. Like now that I have the beauty bar, I do like more facials. And I feel like the facials really do help the skin a lot. And I really don't use a lot of makeup, only, when I have to. But if not, I really just, use nothing, like lip gloss and the lashes and the eyebrows, and I'm good to go.
Right. It could be super simple. And I'm glad that you touched on the genetic makeup of who you are, because that's something that nobody can take away from you. You are genetically blessed. Some people are, some people have to work a little bit harder. It is what it is. But if you are not genetically blessed, and maybe you have to work a little bit harder on your weight or your skin or your hair or whatever it is, then know that that's what you need to do. And you know that, okay, this is who I am. This is what I need to work on. I should take my makeup off every night unless I've had too much tequila or I'm just too tired. But, to stay out of the sun and, just.
Well, I grew up in the sun because back then my mother and like everybody else, right? We used to put baby oil and like make all these formulas, right? Put sun in our hair to be blonder, and then baby oil to be darker, right?
Yes.
But obviously we have more information now, so we don't do that. I'll cover my face. I still love the sun, but I'll do spray tan because it's like a quick way to have like a nice tan, and I don't have to lay out so much. But there's so much information out there now, that we didn't have when we were growing up. So I feel like everyone is much more educated, and they should use it to their advantage so they can have like a longer, healthier life.
I agree. So let's get into the women on your show, on the Real Housewives of Miami. So you have all known each other for how long? Like, is it 10 years?
Yeah, over 10 years. Well, I've known Marisol for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah, Marisol I've known for almost 20 years, and we've always been very friendly, and in the last 10 or 15 years, even more. And Lisa I've known for like 12 or 13 years, Larsa the same, Adriana the same, and who else? Well, those are the girls that came back, if that's who you're referring to. And then the new girls I know from like around town, I know her from like the parties that I go to. And Nicole, we had a lot of friends in common, and we were friendly as well. So, Miami's a small town. Yeah.
So are you friendly with them outside of, I know this is your life, but are you friendly with them outside of the filming?
Oh yeah. Okay. We're friendly. Yeah. And even though Larsa moved from Miami, first to Chicago and then to LA, we always kept in touch. And when she would come back to Miami, we would always try to see each other, shopping or for a drink or for something. And Lisa the same, and Adriana, I'm friends with all of them outside the show. Yeah.
So what we see on the show, for everybody listening, is exactly the way it is. I know that sometimes there's added drama and so on, but basically what we're seeing is the real thing, is real.
Yeah, I really think so. And that's why I have a hard time when some of the women talk about production. Because it's like, they didn't do it to you. You did this to yourself. You actually said that. I was there and I know you. Okay, so stop blaming production or editing. So no, I really do think, I do believe and feel that what you see is what you get, because it's actually what's happening. And this is like who they are. Mm-hmm.
And how does your husband feel about being on TV?
Well, it was difficult for him, in the beginning. First of all, he had never watched any of these shows. Okay. So his mom had, my mother-in-law had, and she was like, "Are you sure you're okay with this?" Because I don't like that. So it was a big surprise for him because he had never watched the shows. And, and even if you do watch the shows, it's a lot different than when it's happening to you, like in your own real life. Right. So he's just like getting used to it. The truth is that when he met me, I had already done 3 seasons. And, even though we weren't on TV, I was, recognized, and we would go to places. And even after 8 years not being on TV, I would still get recognition, and fans would come up to me and ask about my kids and ask about me and about the show and the whole thing. So he kind of got a little bit of it, but that was a lot different than, coming back on TV and seeing himself on TV and, just kind of like understanding how this all plays.
Well, I just have to tell you that Love the relationship between the two of you. I think it seems really, really honest. And I like how, he's very honest about how he feels, and you're very honest about how you feel. And I think that's just a wonderful thing to see on a reality TV show where people think that everything's like, okay, great. You're like, no, we do speak honestly. And I think it's very important for everybody to understand that effective communication is key to a successful relationship. And I feel that the two of you, like you said at the beginning of the show, you're at a place where your relationship is a priority. You've raised your boys, they know who you are, you know what their relationship is. And now you just get to focus on being in love, showing your love, and effective communication.
Yes. Well, yeah, I promised myself that in my next relationship, like after Herman, whoever I was with, I was
Yes.
going to be able to be me, speak my mind, and say everything I wanted to say. Because I feel like in my previous relationships, I was never that person.
Right.
It was either because I feared or, I had uncertainties. I thought it wasn't okay. Sometimes you
Yeah.
do it like, to avoid, a discussion or something uncomfortable. So I said, you know what, whatever guy I'm with next is gonna be my friend, and he's gonna be somebody that I can open up to, that I can be myself, that I can communicate, that I can say whatever I want to say, and he listens. And and even though it gets uncomfortable, we can say these things and obviously work on them, and fix them, and and get a good result. So I'm happy that I found, somebody that, yeah, I mean, it's not always going to be, great, or you're not always going to agree on everything, but that's part of life and relationships. And when you really love somebody, this happens. Like it's the contrary. You know what I mean? As long as you have the good intentions and, you're trying to make things better, and that's how it is. I mean, relationships are tough.
They
Parenting
are.
is tough. I mean, life is tough. I mean, it's just how you react to the moment and to the circumstance, and how much, I think there's love. And I feel like because you love each other, two people love each other so much, you want it to work, you work harder. I mean, you have to. It's just easier not to care. I mean, right? And just to go along with everything and say, oh yeah, yeah, okay, everything's great, like you say, whatever, when it's not. And it's kind of just like buying time. I feel like I was in relationships like that, and when things weren't really okay.
I agree with everything you said. I've been there, done that, get it,
Mhm.
totally, totally get it. Because at some point in your life, you just say, I've got to be me, which leads me to the very last question I'm going to ask you, which is, what does it mean to be fearlessly authentic?
Oh, that's a great question. And I love that you use the fearlessly authentic.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, if you know me, and I think you already know me, you only know me from TV, obviously, but you can see that I am an authentic person.
Yes.
100%. I only know how to be authentic, but authentic, like in a good way. I'm raw, I'm real, and I feel like it's so important to be authentic with yourself, because if you can't be like real and authentic with yourself, then you can't be with a friend or with your partner or with anybody. And I feel like you said, I mean, I'm also at a stage in my life where I am authentic. Maybe before it's kind of like I wanted to, but because sometimes society or your family, you're afraid of hurting people, you're afraid of saying things. But now I'm like, I'm not. I'm just like not apologizing, for being me and for being authentic. If you don't like it, then it's just too bad. I feel like we live sometimes in this fake world, and people are just fake. And I've never been fake. I've always been very real. But I feel the most important thing is to be real with yourself.
It's a beautiful thing. If we could all go to sleep at night knowing that we've been real with ourselves, then we know that we're going to be real in every relationship, whether it's with our significant other, our children, our friends, in our businesses. It's just huge to know that we no longer have to ask for a permission slip to be ourselves, right?
Right. Yeah, no, I'm proud, like I said, and it's so great that you say that, because it's like I don't have to apologize, for being me. And you're good, like you're authentic, like, and that's why I said like in a good way, because sometimes you could say, oh, well, she's so authentic, but like in a mean way, or because but no, like you have to be. And like I said, I love who I am. I love my personality.
Yeah.
And if I say something, that you may not like, that offended you, that's fine. But you know what? I said it, and I own it, and I'm authentic and I'm true to myself. And therefore I could be a better friend, a better partner, a better parent.
Well, I've absolutely loved having you on the show today. Thank you so much for your time. When I come to Miami, I'm going to definitely like
Please
DM
come
you.
visit me and tell your daughter to come. I would love to meet her.
I will. Thank you so much, Alexia Napola from the Real Housewives of Miami. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jody.
Bye bye, everybody. And join me next week for Fearlessly Authentic.